everyone. Thank you again for coming to Wisdom on the Front Porch. And I have an amazing guest today, Patricia. Oh, I love you so much, Patricia. She actually asked me to write in her book, but at the time I wasn't able to. I had so many other commitments, and I wish I would have. It's an amazing title. It is called Through My Mother's Eyes. Now, did
Yes,
you say you're going to have a second one of these coming out?
yes, the second edition is coming out, so you still have another
Yes.
opportunity, LS, and it will launch August 2025.
Oh, awesome. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna be in that. All
Yes,
right, there's another book coming out. Yeah, she has that one Through My Mother's Eyes, which is an anthology, but you have your own book called A Life Worth Living,
yes,
which is also your nonprofit, which is your podcast. I tell you, you are a mover and shaker. You're going, going, going. So
yes.
before we get into all of that, let's get some background on you. How did you decide to go into all of this? I know part of the story, but my audience does not. Our audience does not. So kind of talk about the beginning, and you can keep it as not as much detail as you want, however you want to tell. But we're going
Mhm.
to start with the homelessness and that kind of stuff. So I
Oh,
will let you
yes,
talk.
yes. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm happy to be here with you, and I don't mind sharing. I do not mind sharing this. 27 years ago, I found myself homeless, a young mother,
Mm.
and even battling with addiction. I had myself cleaned up. I went through a program. How many people on this broadcast know about the 12-step program? And I did that. But what I discovered after going through the program, after working on myself, after that's where I started journaling to get things out of me.
Ah,
12 steps only get us to a second floor. There was more things to climb,
okay.
more steps to climb to go further. And how I did that was develop my own personal relationship with the Lord. And that's how I discovered who I was, how God made me. This wasn't a mistake. I wasn't a mistake. I
Uh,
wasn't someone to be left to the side. I had a purpose and God had the plan. So I had to marry that together and find out what that was. So fast forward, I I went from homelessness to becoming a property manager. And
Wow.
my portfolio was predominantly formerly homeless seniors and formerly homeless families.
Wow.
Right up my alley. I went from homelessness to working to help others find their homes and then became my own homeowner. So in 2017, I said, I know there's other women that have walked the road that I did with all the bumps and bruises and the pits. So I opened, this was a divine download, this name,
Yeah.
A Life Worth Living, because that's what I discovered. And I know more women can discover that and really walk in their purpose.
That's awesome. I'm getting goosebumps through all of it. I don't know if it's because the air conditioner came on, but I don't think so. I think it's that amazing story. It's like I almost want to cry because it's just what power is in those words that you're talking about coming out of that. So um now if I've got this right, you've got your nonprofit.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Well,
Did
I want to reach back. Like I was saying in the property management field, I had the opportunity to come in contact with many young families like I was, young mothers with children and finding it hard to keep the balance together. it really was a ministry for me, is to be
Yeah,
able to speak in, because it's not just give a person the keys and say, voila, you're not no longer homeless. It's
yeah,
actually making sure that they can function, that they know how to operate things and how to balance the money that they get in, however they get it in, through working, through assistance, what have you. But being able to know that you have to keep this up every single month, pay your rent, keep your
mhm,
food going, and everything. It may sound very basic to many, but some people really need direction. And that's where God allowed me to working in that area. So I wanted to do more than just on the work front because there's restrictions. You can't really minister at in a corporate arena
right,
like
right,
I wanted to.
yeah,
So and I opened that, like I said, in 2017, and I was doing nights and weekends,
mm,
and then had like a 60 to 80 hour work week, and still
wow,
the nights and weekend, and still had a family because it's my passion
you do
to
sound like an
see.
entrepreneur.
So,
I do.
but
Yeah,
Alice, in 2023, in May, I decided to resign from my position after being in this field for 23 years.
wow,
So I can really launch this and do this full time and really make an impact and build a team and build. I want to have a transitional house so women can come and stay for a period of time and really work on
okay.
themselves.
Right. Now, when we talked before the show a little bit, you talked about their transition from homelessness and
Yes,
hopelessness to
yes,
support and courage. And they
exactly.
find that they do have a purpose. Now, I have a comment to make, kind of a question. You're talking about here they're homeless. You don't just give them a key and say, that's the end. And I'm listening to you talk about this, and all of a sudden it's like, that has to be absolutely terrifying. Now you have this
Hmm.
home that you've
Yes,
never been responsible for. You have to make sure you get the mortgage paid. You have to pay your
yes,
utilities, your water, your electric, your
yes,
garbage, just the basic things. You've got to make sure you have enough for groceries. And it just like this overwhelm came over me. And
yes,
it's like, that has to be really tough for them to go make that change. And it almost sounds like it's too much. I can't do it. I'd rather just be homeless. How do you work with that and say it's not too much. You can do it. Don't be afraid of this. This really is an amazing journey you're going to go on, and it's going to be so worth it.
yes.
How do you get that part away around to them that it is going to be so worth it?
I let them know that it's another stepping stone, but now you're in your own space. So this is your practice ground. If you want to go to your next level may go from an apartment to a condo to a home,
Yeah,
from an apartment to a house. So this is your practice ground. You've already been on ground zero
yeah,
with homelessness, and you stepped up, you did the work to get you here. What it took to get you here. So now it's a stepping stone. And I'm a good listener. And
yeah.
sometimes people just have to talk it out.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
To
And
talk
you
it
are a
out to
good
make it
listener.
make sense. Yes. To make things make sense.
Yeah,
Sometimes that just helps, just to having a listening ear. That's what
yeah,
I found. But I do encourage that this is your next step. You have more steps to go. So this is your
yeah.
practice ground. Yes.
Just take it one step at a time.
One
Don't
step at a
try to take
time.
5 or 6 steps. Yeah, that makes it so
Exactly.
hard.
That's when you fumble, then you get all discombobulated and all over the place.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Oh, that's great. So, so in this, you say is it, I don't know, transition house, I think is what you called it.
That's what
That's
I would love, and that is my
okay.
goal, to have a transitional home for women to work on themselves and
Okay.
work on themselves in the spirit, their spiritual relationship with the God that they serve,
Yeah.
and have other abilities, that coping mechanism. Some need cooking lessons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
And it's
yeah.
not like a one man show. It would be um various people that will help with this. But that's what I was looking for, is to service the whole woman, to go
Yeah.
back and know that she's loved, she has value, and she has a purpose.
That's awesome. Yeah, I I say this a lot because I think it's very important, but I say you have great value in you and you are worthy, you are enough, and you do matter. Well, how do you know I have value? You don't even know me. I don't have to know you. You have
That's
value
right.
because you have made choices every day in your life. You have
Mm-hmm.
made choices to this or to that. Doesn't matter what the choice is, whether you chose the addiction or not,
Mm-hmm.
whether you chose this other or not, whether you chose the toxic relationship. It doesn't matter. You made choices and you
Mm-hmm.
have the experience from those choices inside of you. You've
Yes.
made great choices too. Think of all the days you thought, like Steve Harvey says, you thought you would never make it through. You are a 100% success rate because you're here today. But
Yes.
it's all of that value that you have accumulated, which makes you worthy. And the worth and the value makes you enough just the way you are. So you can keep going and you do matter. And it's
Yes.
like, yeah, boy, I will be your
Yes.
cheerleader, Patricia. I will be their cheerleader to keep going.
Yes.
Well, when I was going through my transition, I guess, and I'd open up my home to some women who just needed a place that was safe for the night. One, it was kind of scary because I had young children, but yet at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I knew that they needed a place that nobody knew where
Yes.
they were. And I knew that at one point that somebody would find out. And once a family in-law member found out what I was doing, it's like, nope, that's it. Because once they know, I know everybody else is going to know.
Yes.
So, I stopped at that point. But just to be able to give somebody a place to where they can feel safe, they
Yes.
know that they can get, at least for the first time in who knows how long, a decent night's rest, a
Yes.
place that they
Which
don't
is
have to
so
wake
important.
up. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yes. So that is my big picture dream. I'm
I love
believing God
that.
for this.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Excuse me. Um, so we talked about, I'm going over my notes to see what we've talked about. Um, you wrote a chapter in a book called Transforming Pain to Purpose.
Yes.
Um, can And I know I'd really love to talk about your other books, but that's why I have another podcast called 52 Plus New Books. I would love to have you on there to talk about your book
Yes.
as we kind of
Yes.
talk the behind the scenes on it too. Thank you.
Yes. I would love to.
Yeah, but kind of tell us a little bit about your chapter. And the reason I picked the chapter is because you already have like a condensed version or these are some important parts that I want people to know in that. So what are some of the things that you bring out in that chapter?
And the transforming pain into purpose. My title was From Fear to the Realization of Purpose.
Hmm.
From the
Hmm.
entrapment of fear, I'm sorry, from the entrapment of fear to the realization of
Wow.
purpose.
Wow.
And I talk about being a child. I start out, I was a child when I had my first vision.
Oh, wow.
Um, and nobody could tell me what that was. Seeing things before they happened, and it scared me.
Yeah.
Um, it scared me till my voice it silenced me. So that's why
Wow.
I said the entrapment of fear to the realization of purpose. I was afraid to tell anybody. I would tell my mother a little here, a little there, but I didn't want to be labeled weird or strange.
Right.
And it was a scary thing when nobody's talking about this, what I'm seeing. Why am I seeing this?
Yeah.
So I used to have dreams as well. And then they would come to life.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I'm telling you about seeing things before they happen, seeing people before I actually met them. So I talk about this and how that fear kept me sound. I didn't say much, and then I just went along with the flow, whatever anyone else's flow was. That's what I went along with. So try to keep under the radar so nobody know that I'm seeing things or I'm having dreams or any of that, which led into early motherhood,
Mhm.
addiction, and the homelessness. So that's
Yeah.
what my chapter is about. And
Wow.
then being victorious out of it and realizing who I was in God.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, were you always a child of God, or did that come later in life?
My relationship came later in life.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, after all of that going through and and me coming into the knowledge of God for myself, it came later in life.
Nice. There is a picture behind your head. I keep seeing it, and there's something about it that touches me. Can you tell us about that? Just, it's directly behind you. I don't know if it's just
Oh,
something you bought somewhere.
I
I
did.
don't,
I bought that at TJ Maxx. I saw that and it just spoke to me and it goes with my furnishing, the
oh, nice.
leather and
But
it
I
just
keep
went with
seeing
it. I
it, and
love it.
it's just like alive. It's like
Yes,
life showing in
yes.
you. Yeah, that's okay. So some people may think
No,
I'm weird for saying things like that, but things
no,
just
I
speak to
not
me.
at all. Not at all. Because it spoke to me, that's why I bought it.
Awesome.
I
And
love it.
yeah, I love that.
Many years
Uh,
ago, I used to be a portrait artist.
oh, really? Oh,
Yes, when I
wow.
was in high school, I used to do charcoal sketching.
Oh, I love that.
I
Do you still
haven't
do
done
that?
that. No, I haven't done it in many, many years.
Why did you quit? Do you know?
Yes, early motherhood.
Early motherhood. Yeah.
Early motherhood, and I thought I was in love.
Uh, to be young and dumb.
Yes, yes, no, but now I'm older and experienced.
Yeah,
See
yeah,
how the
yeah.
language changed?
Yes, it does. Uh, so how many children do you have, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't. I have five,
Awesome.
and they're all grown. My youngest will be 21 next month.
Wow, still pretty young.
Yes, she's my youngest, and my oldest will be 41. They have the same birthday.
Oh, really? Oh, that's fun. How
Yes,
fun.
they have the
Oh,
same birthday. Yes. So, and I have seven grands
oh, wonderful. Aren't
and
grandkids
one,
amazing?
yes, and one great grand.
Are you kidding me? Oh,
Mhm.
wow. Oh, wow. You know, when I became a grandmother, somebody said, "Oh, do you feel old now?" And I go, "Why? I've
I
worked a
know,
lot of years to get to be like this. I love it. I am so
right?
excited to be a grandma. Are you kidding? I get to play with those kids. I get to spoil
Yes,
them, give them back." You know, I was like,
right,
"No, they're mine
exactly.
now." And now I'm so far away from them. It's no fun being this far away from my grandkids, but I love that we can just, do Zoom calls, Facebooks, or what they call it, FaceTime together
Yes,
and,
yes,
send text messages to each other. Some things are a little bit hard. I wish we still had house phones. I miss having a house phone so much because when you call on the house phone, anybody can answer. Now
right.
I call my daughters, I don't know if the grandkids are there or not because hers are all older kids, and so I never know, if I get to talk to anybody else, or I have to call each one's cell phone, which I don't mind doing. It's nice, I love it. My grandkids love me, so I get to talk to them on their
Yes,
cell phones. But
nice.
yeah, but it's yeah, I remember that when my grandmother or grandfather would call, any of us could answer the phone, and then it's like, oh, let me talk before mom gets here real quick.
Yes,
We lived in a small house, so it wasn't that long I'd get to talk, but that was always fun. But don't
nice.
you love being a grandparent?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
Yes, I do. And especially with the youngest, with the great grand.
Oh
I
yeah.
was on FaceTime with her, and she's one.
Oh
And so she wants to take the phone
yes.
because I trying to teach her to say grand nana, right?
Oh
Grand
yeah.
nana, because my
Yeah.
grandkids call me Nana. So I say
Okay.
grand nana, and she just says Nana. I said, okay, good enough.
Yeah. Wait, I was trying to figure out, one of my kids call me Granny because, I loved watching the Beverly Hillbillies. And I thought
Oh, I
that
used to
that
love that
grandmother
show.
was such a hoot. And
Yes,
and so I wanted to call me Granny, but no, they wanted to call me grandmother. And it's like,
okay.
okay. But now most of them just call me Mima. And it's so much easier because they have a different grandmother, so
Hmm.
this one can be called Abuelita or whatever, whoever it is, or grandmother over there, but I get to be Mima.
Oh, yeah, see?
So it's
That
like that
sounds
term of
spicy,
endearment.
doesn't it?
It's like so much fun.
Yes, that's good. I
I
said,
do.
that's funny you brought that up. I used to love the Beverly Hillbillies because of Granny.
Yeah, yeah. She was feisty. Boy, I
Yes.
tell you, she was just something. We're watching some of the replays now. They brought them back, and it's like, wow, I used to watch this all the time. Some of it's like, this is pretty corny.
Yes, it
But
was. But
but
at that time, it just grabbed you, sucked you in.
oh yeah, yeah, big time. It was, and it's because they showed this whole different life that most of us would never get to see growing up. They
Hmm.
lived in this huge mansion. They had a
Hmm.
swimming pool right outside the kitchen door. They not
Right.
only had a kitchen, they had a butler's pantry. And then they had a pool room, which was a billiard room, really, and the big grand stairs and
Right.
everything around, and that huge area out front, and you just get to see these things. And another neighbor who always walked in with furs and
Yeah,
diamonds and all
exactly.
kinds of stuff. And it's like,
Elaborate.
I didn't grow up around anybody like that. That was
Right.
just, sometimes it was just funny to see what they do. I always loved the one show where one of her neighbors' friends who was very wealthy off, had everything done for her. Granny is doing her medicine, she's the
Yes.
doctor for everybody. And so she comes over to Granny to get, a tonic or whatever. It's just whiskey or something. But anyways, she says, I just can't sleep at night, I'm just always feel so restless. And so Granny asked her, well, what do you do all day? And she's just telling about all this stuff that she just orders people around, and she doesn't do anything physically, you
Hmm.
know. And so Granny says, well, I want you to do the dishes this week, and then I want you to sweep the floors. And she's doing that. She comes back, she goes, I have so much energy now. I sleep so good. I am so tired at night when I go to bed. All of this. And I just thought that was the funniest thing I'd ever heard because that's what we do all the time.
I know, right?
It's just hilarious. Oh my goodness. Now I'm really getting off topics on all of my
That's all
shows
right.
today. This is great. I love the other pink background behind you. Now that is for your book, Life Worth Living. Is that
No,
right?
this
No,
is
that
for
one's.
through my mother's eyes.
Tell me about that. I know our time's getting close, but I think it'd be important for our listeners and our viewing
Yes.
audience to know, why did you do a book through my mother's eyes? I mean, I can think of all kinds of things, but what was your reason for doing it?
As well, as I was finishing up writing my own book, The Life Worth Living, I just had an epiphany, and I wanted to say it like that's a divine download. So my mother had a powerful story that she shared with me. I was the youngest of her five girls,
Okay.
and powerful, powerful story. And she told it in chunks,
Hmm.
a little at a time because it was tragic. She was in the depression, you
Oh,
know,
yeah, yeah.
and she was instrumental in raising her brother starting from 7 years old. I said, wow, her story is powerful. She's no longer here. She transitioned at 93 back in
Wow.
2015.
Wow.
Um, so I said, I want to share what she shared with me, within reason, you
Right,
know,
right.
and to share the strength that I drew from her. So it's a celebration and to honor the significant
Yeah.
woman in our lives. And for me, that was my mom. She was very strong.
Wow.
She had a very hard childhood through the depression, through the separation of her parents, and she had two younger brothers.
Hmm.
And she was just very dedicated to family. From
Wow.
the
Wow.
tragic experiences to being the matriarch. And that's the title of my chapter, The Matriarch.
Nice. I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. And I see all the other authors that are there. Are
Yes.
their stories similar to that, or is each story very different?
It's different, yes, because I
Yeah.
have a co-author here that Regine Amer spoke about her foster mother.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Maureen McIntosh Alquist spoke about her grandmother who raised her.
Yeah.
And the other two spoke about, Jose Escobar spoke about his mom
Yeah.
and how his
Beautiful
parents
woman.
came in.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Amazing story, isn't it?
yes,
Just amazing.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And Natalie Morrow, Dr. Latanya Wright, and Christina Latour talked about their mothers.
That's
Yes.
wonderful.
And I'm going to tell you this one here. This
Yes.
That's Jeanette Hines Juba. That's my middle girl.
Oh,
When
is
I
it?
was putting this together, she came over to me and she says, "Oh wow, Mom, this is cool." She said, "I want to write in this book." I said, "You do?" I'm thinking she wants to write about her other grandmother, and
Yeah.
she says, "No, I want to write about my mother and how she
Wow.
impact." That was my reaction exactly. I was like, "You do?"
I was
She
like,
says, "Yes."
hmm, this could be interesting.
Yes, and she did. And her chapter title is called I Rise Up.
Oh my
And she's
goodness.
speaking of
I'm gonna
me.
start crying. What a beautiful tribute to you.
Yes. Oh my, it's
Oh,
surprising.
wow.
Now in this, okay, I'm going to tell you a short thing, what happened this summer between May and July. My sister's cancer came back,
Oh,
and I was with her daily through her transition and going through hospice. And then she passed July 8th.
oh, I'm sorry.
So in those time period, I was with her every day. And I was still putting this book together for the book launch. It's in August.
Oh my.
And the gala in August. And we buried her on the 19th.
Wow.
Huh, the 19th of July. It's only through the grace of God. thank you. I have a relationship with God because through His grace and mercy, that was a beautiful event. It's only through Him,
Mm, mm,
only through Him.
wow. Yeah, I think about my life. I was 9 years old when I asked Jesus into my heart. And a lot of people think 9 years old, you don't know anything. Well, I knew that I was an awful person. I lied
Mm-hmm.
about things. I would get my brother and sisters into trouble, so I wouldn't get into trouble. I mean, I would flat out lie straight to my dad's face. It's like saying, no, I didn't eat the chocolate cake when it's all over me, you know.
Okay.
He's trying to take me at my word, let him know that he believes me, but I mean, I knew he knew the truth. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was just kind of a rotten kid, and I didn't like being
Mm-hmm.
that way. It wasn't that I didn't like myself. I just didn't like doing these things that I knew was wrong, and I didn't know how to not do them.
Mm-hmm.
And so when someone said, I won't tell the whole story, but when I was asked, we had a Bible verse, and I think it's Second Corinthians that has it. You become a new man. The old is gone away, and the new
Mm-hmm.
is here. And that's what I wanted. I wanted that new man. Now, as I look over my life and all the things I've gone through, and it's like, I would be dead. I know without a doubt, without Jesus in my heart, I would be dead
Mm-hmm.
because I would have been into everything I possibly could have been into um, at any age, and it's amazing how having God in your life can make that difference.
Absolutely.
A lot of people say, "Why are you
Absolutely.
always happy?" And it's like, well, I don't know, but I do know now. At the time I really didn't know, but I do know now. It's that joy that He put inside of me. That is why I'm always happy. Yeah.
And that's wonderful. I didn't come into that realization, as I said earlier, until later in life. But
Mhm.
then, in later in life, when I did de- develop that relationship with the Lord, then I look back at all the things He saved me from.
Oh
I could have
yeah.
been dead
Yeah.
from the things that I had gotten into. And
Yeah.
He saved me, was like, no, you're not doing this. Stop. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
And He
you
was
talk
with me
about the
all the time,
yeah.
but I just didn't know it.
Yeah, isn't that something? It's like
Yes.
he's always been there.
He's
We
always
just
been there.
we either didn't want to see it or we couldn't see it.
Right.
We have to make that choice to say, okay, God, you're here. I want to see you. I want to
Yes.
know you. And yeah, it was a really radical transformation. I won't get into details here about everything that happened, but
No, I understand.
but yeah, it was yeah, I knew without a doubt that I was never going to be what I was before. And
Hmm.
anytime I thought of doing some of the things that I did before, it'd be like, wham, no, you're not. It wasn't,
Right.
physically like that, but it would be like, what are you doing?
That's
Why
that's
are you
right. You
doing
get a
this? Yeah,
quickening in your spirit, like,
yeah. It's like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't
So
have to see the physical finger go,
that's
You
right.
just feel,
That's right. Love that. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, um, you have your nonprofit, you have your business, you're working on the transition house, which I love that you're doing that. You do help people go from pain to purpose. You're working on your second book of the anthology, the
yes.
second one of that. Here I am. I never thought I would be doing anything like this, but here I am in my fourth volume of the giving book where it's all about giving all the way around. And it's got such a variety in it. We go from paintings to drawings. And someone on the last volume put in a drawing they made at Christmas time when they were in the 6th grade, and then the poem that went with it. And it's just beautiful. You just never know what people are going to submit. And
Right.
this week and next week is my time to spend with all of these submissions that are coming in. And I get to go through
Nice.
them because, I got to do a little bit of editing and stuff too and put them all together. But
Yes.
I love it. I love doing anthologies. There's just these great minds and these great hearts
Yes.
that are just pouring out
Come.
to those who will need to hear it.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And it's very important. What I'm seeing now, and another reason why I did this anthology, To My Mother's Eyes, is so each generation can see what the previous one went through.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's important.
I
We
think it's
don't tell
very
those
important.
stories like we used to. Um,
Right.
yeah, yeah. But it's important that we do. We do. And some people, my age say that, well, nobody wants to hear the stories. And it's like, maybe not right now, but they do
Exactly.
want to hear them. So write it down, put it on a video, record it on a tape recorder. There's still
Right.
those around. Get a digital recorder. They can hold a lot more. But there's still ways you can tell your story. Find a ghostwriter. Ghostwriters is someone who writes your story for you.
Right.
Um,
Yes.
and they're wonderful that way. But, get the stories down because they do want to hear them, just not right now, but there is a time they're going to want to.
That's
And
right.
and you don't want to not have it there for them.
In
So,
the second edition of Through My Mother's Eyes, my oldest son is already secured a chapter, and he is going to be talking about my sister who passed. She didn't have
oh,
children,
oh,
and
wow.
she was like a second mother to him.
Oh, that's awesome.
To
Oh,
both of my sons, actually, but my oldest one is going to be in this anthology.
oh, that's awesome. I definitely have to get your first book. I can't
Yes.
believe I haven't gotten it before now. Because I really want to be in it. And thank you for letting me be in your next book. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that afterwards. So I
Yes.
definitely want
Yes.
to do that. I'll talk about my grandmother. Boy, you talk about someone with a life too. Yeah, what I know. But okay, so do you have any closing thought first, things that you really want us to hear that we haven't talked about yet, maybe?
Well, I think we talked about a lot. I'm
We
thanking you
did.
for this opportunity. If there's anyone out there that has a story about a significant woman in your life, whether it's your mother, your grandmother, it could be an aunt or a sister that really had impact in your upbringing in mentoring you, and you want to share your story, I'm asking that you reach out to me and we can connect on my website, which is a life worth living corp.org.
.org. Okay.
.org, or you can email me at pjuba, Juba, at a lifeworthlivingcorp.org. And we can have a chat to see if you are the right fit for this, our second edition.
Nice. Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, I guess that's it. They can, if they want to talk to you about personal coaching, being a personal growth coach, they can probably get a hold of you the same way too.
They can I get a hold of me. It's a different email. It's called Growth Arise Consultant LLC at gmail.com.
Okay. Okay. That sounds
Yeah.
great. Oh, Patricia, thank you so much for being here as my guest. I love visiting with you. This has just been
Thank
like
you.
sitting on the front porch together
Yes,
and
right? Oh,
sharing this knowledge, and
yes.
as I say in the introduction or the outro, I don't remember which one, but it is, your front porch can be anywhere. It can be a Zoom call
Right.
like this. It can be an actual front porch. It can just be visiting with a neighbor, in the grocery store, wherever you happen to be that you're sharing knowledge and value with each other. That's your front porch. So thank you for being here, and thank you, my audience, for being here. I really appreciate you. We'll see you next time on Wisdom on the Front Porch.
Thank you for joining us today on Wisdom on the Front Porch with your host, LS Kirkpatrick. You can find us on our website, wisdomonthefrontporch.com, see previous episodes of the podcast, and view issues of the magazine. Did you know you can submit questions, leave reviews, or suggest topics? You can also tell us where your favorite front porch location is and what it means to you. We hope you gain value and insight from today's or previous talks. We appreciate your support for us so we can continue to provide value and expertise to you and others. Subscribe to Wisdom on the Front Porch magazine and join in next week when we bring you another great insight into the world of entrepreneur culture and lifestyle. Make today a great day. Always believe that something wonderful is going to happen.